Hey creators, welcome back to the club. We're your hosts. I'm Ebony Chapman.
And I'm Akila Friend.
You guys, today we have a guest who is an actor, filmmaker, director, okay? He has appeared in Underground, Snowfall, and the most recent reoccurring role on NBC's new series, Grand Crew, okay? We are so pleased to welcome Johnny Ray Gill to the club, you guys.
How y'all doing?
Hey, we're doing great. We're so excited. Hey, look, okay, he's happy to be here. We're happy to be here as well. We love that. We are going to be talking about telling stories through creative outlets, ED for men caused by COVID, okay, and celebrities taking jobs from actors and so much more here today. The list goes. I
love the full. I don't know. We're gonna make it a full circle moment. We're gonna make it all lined up.
There's a lot of things to talk about. This man is he's been in the business for a minute. There's a lot of opinions, a lot of things going on. So I felt like we couldn't just narrow it down to one. Well, we're gonna figure it out throughout the episode. So Johnny, please let us know and tell us a little bit more, a little condensed version about yourself. Like obviously we gave a little intro, but like give us a little extra.
Yeah. First of all, it's a pleasure to be here. Great to be chatting with you lovely ladies. I love everything that you're doing, celebrating all the creators that you guys have come on here. So I'm just happy to be able to take part and, be able to add to your legacy and your greatness. So kudos to you too. I'm an actor, filmmaker, director, poet. I started off as a poet when I was at Temple, and, my professor saw me performing in the club and was like, yo, I think you might be able to do this actor thing. And I was like, all right, whatever. Tried it out and, it kind of fit like a glove. I realized I think at this stage of my career and my life, I'm really just a storyteller. I'm an artist. And I think that artistry is kind of like different suits. And someday you want to wear the lavender. Someday you wear, you want to wear the pinstripe. And other days you want to do what LeBron did and make it a short set. So that's kind of how I feel, like, whether I'm directing a project or, whether it's a collection of poetry, whether that's me acting in a TV show. For me, it's just about, telling stories with integrity and, kind of pushing the needle forward for Black people and then for human beings in general.
I mean, that is like an amazing roundup. I love also when we're able to shout out folks who intentionally mentored or non-intentionally mentored and really just helping you steer in the right direction. Even if that professor found you in the club, like that's still quite an achievement. And I think too, like, I like how you put it when it comes to creativity, because oftentimes folks feel like they have to stick in one box or they have to be that one thing forever. But like, it is like, today I want to wear purple, tomorrow I want to wear orange, and every day it's going to be a hot fit. So it doesn't even matter.
Right. I think to just with the metaphor, to keep the clothing metaphor, I do think you have to have self-awareness. I think, because like not everybody looks good in everything. You know what I'm saying? So, for me, LeBron can get away with certain things because he's 6'7" that I can't get away with. I'm not that tall. Those drop crotch pants might make me look shorter than I want to look. You know what I'm saying? So you got to know what looks good on your body. And I think, as artists in this push to be able to get put on and be on TV, because most people are in entertainment not because they think they're storytellers. It's a quick way to make money, to keep it a buck. You feel me? If you can make the kind of money you're doing in the entertainment business, I don't know, being an engineer, and people would be flying to Tallahassee. And everybody would be like, no, I'm an engineer. Oh, no, I moved here. I've been wanting to be an engineer since I was 5. Yeah, right. It's just what it is. You understand what I'm saying? So there has to be, for me, and what I try to approach in my work is there has to be humility. I don't call myself an editor because I'm not an editor. Just because I have Final Cut Pro on my computer doesn't make me that. Just because you have a camera doesn't make you a photographer. And that's where to me it's about the community. When you watch a film, there's a reason why there's thousands of people in the credits, because it took a community to make the movie, from the VFX people, the sound people, the grips, the gaffers. It's not just the actors, it's not just the director, it's everybody coming together. And as much as I love all the multi-hyphenate, I do think sometimes people take it a bit far.
Valid. Especially in this age of social media and digital creating, it's almost, and branding of yourself, you gotta have to question, are you really a life coach? Are you really a photographer? because you have this or that, because you talked to your friend that one time. So it is a balance. It is a balance. of what you can do. But we can call you a guest, as Ebony was talking about earlier. You definitely had a lot of great guest spots on popular shows, a lot of popular shows that have a hook, not only on the culture, but just in mainstream media overall. So can you take us through some of your experiences and specifically how would a budding actor, an actor in general, like look for work and be able to land the types of roles that you have? Again, that's Grand Crew on NBC, Underground featuring Journey Smollett, and United States of Alabama, for instance.
Yeah, United States of Al.
Of Al. Oh my God, not Alabama. Yes.
Come get you now. You don't want to come get you now.
Yes.
But as advice for young actors, figure out what kind of artist you are. Again, it's really about humility. Like, you're gonna hear that a lot from me. I think our country lacks it. You know what I'm saying? Like, humility. And once you go inward and stop seeking, validation on the outside, you'll figure out what kind of artist you are. And then you'll figure out your path, whether that's, going through the theater, and that could be, in New York, or is that, the regional theater circuit, Oregon Shakespeare Festival? Is it you going to get an MFA like I did, like some other people did at Juilliard or NYU or UCSD, shout out Tritons, is that the spoken word route through poetry? Or is that just trying to do TV and film and just go in that direction and taking classes and things like that? I think for me, it's just you have to be trained. You have to figure out what kind of artist you are. And there's not going to be a one size fits all route. I think there's a lot of ways to get into this game. But I think it's easy to get on TV, to be real. I think it's easy to get on TV. If you're, most people on TV are attractive in some shape or form. So that's usually what it takes. I think it's hard to have longevity in this game. I think it's difficult to be Tom Hanks. It's difficult to be Denzel Washington. It's difficult to be Viola Davis, because a lot of the stuff she was doing at the beginning, a lot of things that people have to do at the beginning ain't glamorous stuff. Okay. It's the kind of the rites of passage of it. So I think it's easy to get that one guest spot. But again, I think if your intentions are right, you'll be built for the marathon. And that's where our game differs from like athletics. You kind of got to get that money. You got to get that stuff. Like when you're in your 20s, when your knees ain't jacked up and all that stuff, where a lot of actors can really get that quote unquote fame or whatever it is, in their 40s, 50s, 60s, sometimes in their 70s, 80s or 90s. So, it's a marathon. So figure out what kind of artist you are, and study. There's a lack of humility. So you got to study, figure out what kind of artist you are, and then, get out there and start auditioning.
Yeah. How did you figure out what kind of artist you are, though? Probably something.
Yeah, exactly. Akila and I are always on the same page.
Yes.
Sometimes asking a question, so it's like, yeah, exactly. Like, how did you figure out what kind of artist you are? And again, like, these are huge, major roles. Like, this is like Snowfall. Yeah. Like, hello, like this is not some rinky-dink situation.
Shout out Damson. It was fun working with him. I shout out RZA. He was in that episode. We had some fun on that jump. But for me, I think I'm still figuring it out. You know what I'm saying? I think it has to be a true pursuit. I read a lot. I study a lot of other artists, and I have, great conversations with myself, my therapist, all that kind of stuff to figure out, like, what are my intentions? You hear that phrase in dating all the time, like, what are your intentions? You know what I'm saying? If your intentions are to get paid, you might be doing some stuff that, it's a check, but, might not be the most artistically viable situation. You know what I'm saying? But if it's about a true pursuit of the craft, if you really have, something to say on a specific topic, you know what I'm saying, then, that can steer you in that direction. So it's a lot of trial and error, a lot of humility, a lot of great conversation with yourself, and a lot of putting yourself out there. So, for me, I used to think that all the art forms were separated, right? Like when I was a poet, I was just like, oh, this is my poetry grind, which is why I put it down. I got jaded with the craft. I put it down for a long while. And then it took me many years to realize that, wait a minute, all this acting stuff I learned can help me while I'm performing the poem. Because now I know about pitch changes and what a comma means and what a semicolon means. I'm classically trained. So all of a sudden things start informing everything else. And then you realize, oh, wait a second. Okay, I'm good at this. I'm good at this. Okay, I'm good at this. You know what I'm saying? And then you can kind of start molding the things together and figuring out what your voice is and what you want to say. Like I said, I think that's the most important thing. I'm still refining it. And, I just wish myself Godspeed and moving forward and trying to figure it out. But the shows are fun. The shows are fun. I love doing the comedy stuff. United States of Val was dope. Grand Crew working with Nicole Byer. She's a fucking power.
Amazing show.
the powerhouse. She's a thunder and volcano, man. She be doing her thing. So it was great, working with her. We did some really great stuff. And each show, I feel like you get better with each show. You know what I'm saying? You get better with each show, better with each audition. You just keep, building your tree out.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what a creative is, right? Like being a creative, being an actor, being whatever defines creativity for you. It is great because it is ever evolving and changing, and you can experiment. Like you said, like something that you do in the beginning of your career isn't going to be maybe how you end it. So you know what I'm saying? You learn as you go. You're not going to be doing those same little small films in the small theaters. You're doing things bigger at the Apollo. Maybe you're, whatever it is going on.
Apollo, okay. They still doing that.
Man,
folks.
You're winning Oscars. You're doing all the things. Okay, like yes, this is you evolve. But not only do you act, but you also direct your own short films and creative sketches. So recently you did a sketch about men getting erectile dysfunction after getting COVID without a vaccine. Why did you choose to tell this story and to use comedy in that way to explain it?
I wanted to tell that story first off, just because I had the privilege of listening to some doctors. They were having a conversation on Twitter. This was last summer. I think it was at the end of July. And, they were railing against the patriarchy because they were like, well, if this wasn't a male dominated society, I mean, have you ever met a dude that's like, oh, I have erectile dysfunction. I really need to go get it checked out. No, that never happens. Dudes always have the biggest penises and they can, do all that stuff. It's in every song, but somehow millions are affected by this condition, yet we've never met any of them. So they were saying that if this wasn't a male dominated society, the CDC and some of these, like this idea that COVID, one of the long effects of contracting COVID would be erectile dysfunction. And I had never heard this. And I thought it was very interesting that I'd never heard this potential symptom that has, scientific backing. Yet I heard some of these other wild conspiracy theory things. And so I just sat there and I was like, well, this is sad. This is crazy, but there's probably a lot of limp dick mofos walking around. And if that's the case, there's a lot of beds that are lacking ecstasy. So I wanted to do this short about a woman who starts a nonprofit organization to tackle the erectile dysfunction crisis plaguing women all over America. And also to, and I use comedy because I thought it would be a great way to address an issue that's really prevalent and important in, society at large, but also in our communities. And then also, that kind of comedy, a lot of times Black people don't get a chance to do it on TV. Is very few and far between. A lot of times in Hollywood, we can only do certain types of comedy. So to be able to do something wit-based, something that, gives us an opportunity to shine. And, for all those listening out there, what the research says, if you contract COVID, you're a man, you contract COVID-19, you're 6 times more likely to have erectile dysfunction. So I would advise people to get vaccinated. And I feel like if the film could get one more person vaccinated, then that's better for society at large. I like that little zoom out that just happened right
there. Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. You know what?
That's dope.
Just let it do what it's got to do. I'm literally.
You got Steve Spielberg over there, yo.
Thank God I have pants. Thank God I have pants on.
That was nice. The dolly track.
The quality track.
The dolly
Something
track.
About this morning, I think it's because I'm talking to a creative like you. I'm like, I'm getting.
I love it. I love it.
You saw my hands were like.
I was like, I was dope. So yeah, so the film is called Walled. You can watch it on YouTube on my YouTube channel for my production company, First Lock Pictures. You can watch it on my Instagram. Hopefully we'll be doing some, festivals throughout the year. But it's called Walled: Women Against Limp Lifeless Dick.
I love how women is also like, even in your sketch, it's a woman that's running the nonprofit, just like, no, I know it's a man's problem, but it's ultimately going to be our problem as well if this happens.
But you know what's funny is that I feel like it's a great kind of ironic situation because I feel like fashion, heels, everything's ran by a man anyway for a woman, or like women men want to have so much say in like women's health and like that kind of thing. So I love kind of that like play on it to be like, no, well, like we gonna take charge, because if we have to deal with this little funky little situation now, we got to figure it out.
Yes. And then also just with some of that conspiracy theory stuff, you know, I think sometimes it's easy to make fun of, you know, like old white women with no teeth. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that's easy because like we see people in the South, or you know, some people going out and saying, oh, we don't want to get vaccinated, we don't understand, protect our rights and all that stuff. I think that's easy, but in our community, we were saying some of those same crazy things that got a lot of people killed. You understand what I'm saying? You know, we say some of the same things. You know, it's funny because it seems like these experts in other fields, they just keep being right. Like, it's interesting, and we never listen to them. You know, doctors tell us not to eat red meat. People like, nah, I think I'll do whatever I want. Supposed to get diabetes, die. They're like, oh, there's climate change, the global warming. We're like, not really. And then like the Antarctica is melting around us. There's fires and everything. Then this pandemic happened. They're like, yo, we have to do this, that, and that. We're like, nah, I work at Walmart. I think I'm gonna go with what I think. And it's like, no, again, it's that humility piece. Like, we're a community. Like I didn't create this iPad that I'm talking to you on. I wouldn't know how to do it. I didn't create this cord. I didn't create the roads. Like, we all contributed to this space. And I want people of color, I want Black people to be a part of that conversation as well. We're more than just movies about slavery and romantic comedies about some girl that likes some guy or vice versa. We're more than just dancing in the club and songs that, you know, make you shake your ass. Like, we're more than that. And so many times we're left out of those conversations, mostly through obviously white privilege and, you know, their almost monopoly on a lot of those topics, but also through you know, some fault of ourselves. Like, we can make films about voter suppression. Ain't nobody stopping us from doing that. We can make, you know, we're more than just people getting shot by the police, even though that thing is important. I want to hear our voice on climate change. I want to hear our voice on these really important issues. And so, like you were talking about my voice, I've just now started getting comfortable making that the mission. So if that's the mission, and I want to do sketches, and I want to do features, and I want to do these movies, well, then guess what? Nut up and make a movie. No pun intended, nut up. Make this movie. It's going to be more difficult than just a slapstick comedy about, I don't know, some dude, I don't know, the wig falling off, or, you know, whatever stuff, you know, people normally do. You know, so, oh, I'm sorry, babe, I can't do that stuff we see on TikTok and all that stuff. That's cool. But I personally feel like we're kind of at a tipping point in so many areas. And given how powerful art is, I remember when Glee came out and folks were still on the fence about gay marriage. That wasn't that long ago. I remember when Barack Obama did that interview. He was like, yeah, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? We've come a long way because we see the power of art. I remember when Fruitvale Station came out. You know what I'm saying? I remember these things. So, like I said, I want to hear our voice on that, and I want to be a part of that. So that's what I'm after. That's what I'm doing.
That's great. What has been the feedback so far? Like, because I think it's true, and it is cutting edge, especially now. It's weird that COVID-19 and the thought of having a vaccine or not, or getting boosted or not, is such a taboo topic sometimes. And so I think comedy and the way you're approaching it is cutting through that noise in a way. So yeah, just curious, what has been the feedback so far, or just like even personally for you having to put this out into the world?
Feedback has been great. If anything, a lot of times people are like, wait, is this real? I'm like, no, these ain't jokes, man. Some of the stuff was taken right from the scientific papers. When they said, look, it lingers in the penis. I said, it's lingering in my penis? Oh man, damn, I thought it was gone. You know what I'm saying? So the feedback has been great. People think it's hilarious. And then personally, it's just been very satisfying to to see the mission move forward. You know what I'm saying? As far as my production company is concerned. And it's just about making it, you know, bigger for the next go round. You feel me? But it's satisfying when you can do something hilarious that also matters.
Yeah. We're gonna have to get those those sources, by the way. I know we're gonna have to put that in there. you said that.
I was literally just about to say.
All you need to do is type erectile dysfunction, COVID-19. And it's magic. All the articles come up, all the .govs, all the .edus, not Dr. Umar, not that. Don't go to that website, okay? Not
Don't hover over to images either. Okay.
Yeah. it's right there. Like, I didn't have to do no deep research for this. I was shocked too. I said, really?
Yeah, crazy.
You know what I'm saying? I said, well, good Lord, people's balls is really tingling.
Yeah, I mean, I was literally about to ask that too. Like, how do you kind of shift through misinformation versus real information? And so, I mean, I get, like, you kind of answered it. Just Google it. You want to go to the WebMDs and all the things that, but I think also too, you want to talk to your doctor as well. We're not doctors, exactly. We're not medical. We did not go to medical school. So we definitely, verify everything with a doctor. But yeah, I mean, I think, like you said, if you Google it, and Google is your best friend at times.
It's right there. It's right there. A lot of times the information is right in front of you, whether that's about voter suppression, whether that's about COVID-19 and vaccines. It's crazy. You talk about this stuff. It's wild to find out. I think it was in 1952 with polio. It was mandated across all 50 states, regardless of political affiliation, that people had to get vaccinated against polio. That's called history. And I think, for me, I just think that we've sanitized ourselves so much, whether that's in the arts or whatever, to where some of the stuff is not controversial. Like, you have to be vaccinated against certain things to go to college.
To go to not even college, to go to any kindergarten.
So it's like, it's like fans, I'm sorry. I always look at it like this. That's why with the, with this stuff, I always look at it like, imagine if you could get herpes by just walking in the room with somebody. Folks would be like, look, brother, you need to get vaccinated, man. I can't be, could you imagine if you was in the club just dancing and all of a sudden your skin broke out in hives? Because, sorry, in that version, if that was real, this would be an airborne virus. And so I would think that, or infection or whatever the proper terminology is. So I would think some of this stuff is remedial science, but
I think too, the difficulty that people have with understanding the vaccine is also just the quickness in which it came about, right? Like herpes and polio, I mean, at least for our time and our generation, is something that has been around, right? Like the flu, whatever, Spanish flu, whatever it was, has been around for a minute. And even though like everyone in those times went through their moment, like I think the vaccine came out in like less than a year. And so it felt like, can we trust this? Like, how did they test it out on anybody? And then you hear they're testing out on Black people only and seeing if they die. And it was like all this crazy information coming out. And it was very difficult to then be like, oh yeah, now we're going to mandate you guys to actually have this. And we're like, wait a second, red flag. Like, are we ready to have something ingested in our bodies? I think too, like our generation, millennials, X, Y, Z, whatever generation that comes after the millennials, we're really conscious, I think, of like our bodies, what we put in it, the food that we're eating. You don't think so?
No, I think
we're more like vegan. I think we're more vegan and stuff.
No. I think we're selective on what we want to say is fast or not fast, because we're living literally in an era where you can get things or get media or get things instantaneously. But all of a sudden, this is something that, wow, no, we got to go back to archaic time when things took 20, 30 years, 40 years to develop. And then you turn to the next slide and somebody's flying in space. Like, it's like, what do you decide to say? It's our risk tolerance is like, it's dependent. It's personal decisions. Like, we're not here, like, decisions. But more so, it's hard to then don't justify that by saying that it's something based on, don't justify that with data that you then don't want to believe.
I think it goes back and forth.
Yeah. I got told the theme with any interview I do about this, humility.
Yeah.
I understand people being scared. People are scared to fly. They don't turn around and then try to explain why the plane is in the air, because you would sound like a retard, unfortunately, because you don't know anything about that. When you get on an airplane, again, humility and community, right? When you get on an airplane, you trust, unfortunately, you have to trust the engineers, you have to trust the pilots. There is nothing you can do about it. No one talks about how fast the airplanes come out. No one says any of that kind of stuff. And when it comes to the vaccine, humans have been working on, those people that know how to do that have been working on vaccines for 100 years or however long it is. So because of the AIDS research, they get better too, just like basketball players. Folks wasn't LeBron James in the 1960s. They was dribbling like this. Now all of a sudden Steph Curry's doing all this other stuff because they're improvements on things that already transpired. So again, I understand fear. I understand all those things. I empathize with it. The thing that I don't empathize with, and I feel like is out of control, whether we're talking about Hollywood or whatever, is people speaking out of turn. I don't want to hear anything Draymond Green has to say about the vaccine. And then people say, what about police brutality? Or what about this? I said, he has some lived experience with that I would want to hear. He has never put on a lab coat. He's probably never looked in a microscope. So again, it's humility. And so for me, like, there's a reason, again, at the end of Avengers, there's like 2,000 folks. Like Robert Downey Jr. is doing that again in front of a green screen. You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't for all these other people putting all the aliens and all this stuff in there, it would just be a green piece of paper and Robert Downey Jr. doing some dope acting. That's it. So we all move through this together. You understand what I'm saying? And again, I think we have to be very careful with all this misinformation stuff. I think you have to be very careful. Like I remember, I think this was 4 years ago, and they were talking about how during the Trump election, the Russian folks, the Russian government was saying that instead of, we can't bomb America, we can't beat them. What we can do is we can target Black communities with misinformation on Facebook and get them to vote against their own interests and not pay attention and get them not to trust doctors and all that kind of stuff. So it's weird to see that. Like, think about that. And again, that's something you can Google. You can look it up. They were able to verify this. Think about what that says about our community. If another government is saying, let's target those people.
Consistently.
You know,
And I think what you're saying, right? And it's kind of, it's hard to determine like what's true, what's not, what we want to believe, what we don't. But I think what's harder is folks deciding to use some level of discernment in what they share about what they believe and what they don't versus what they, because I think that's when things become an issue, when it's like, it's one thing for you to feel some sort of way, it's your body, your choice, but don't then tell someone else, oh, you're stupid for taking it, or you're stupid for not taking it because of X, Y, and Z. And I think,
I'm sorry, I guess I'm controversial. I don't agree with that. It's not,
tell me why. That's what we're here.
I don't agree with it. Because when you go, that's why Kyrie Irving's in the sketch. Because what he says is arrogant. It's arrogant, and like the reason why we can go back, if everybody took Kyrie Irving's position, more people would be dying and we still would be at home. So it took 70% or however much of the population to sacrifice. So now that you can play basketball in the stadium, again, the community sacrifice. You see what I'm saying? So this idea, again, how would you feel if I had sex with you and then you were like, oh my God, I got herpes now, I got AIDS. And I was like, oh, sorry, my body, my choice.
No. That's different. What I'm saying and what you're saying what Kyrie did. What Kyrie did is what I'm saying is the issue. It's one thing for you not to take it or what have you, but then to say
if everybody took his position, if everybody took his and said, you know what, I'm a selfish bastard. I don't care. I'm not gonna take it. What would have happened on the planet?
If he did that and stayed home, that's the thing. If you're not gonna take it, do what you got to do about the situation.
Again, when I talk about the community,
fine, you do this. Like that's what happens versus saying you don't take it and then you want to have all the liberties that folks who are taking it are doing. Like that's what I'm thinking is like the
you see, on a large point, like I said, why I did the sketch is because I want to be able to expose some of the stuff, the inconsistencies in these arguments. Because again, it is a community. For example, when we talk about things on the right, when it talks about women's bodies, they sound crazy saying, I don't believe in mandates, yet let's mandate that you guys can't have abortions. That doesn't make any sense. You see what I'm saying? So that's the same thing as if we take it over to this other thing.
It is.
So if someone says we can mandate you take the measles vaccine, but we can't mandate this vaccine. Like this, it's shut the whole society down. And I think it comes from this privilege that we all have as, and I think a lot of it is entertainment driven, which is why I want to put this stuff in my work. I think people listen to celebrities, like my short DVD and chill is about celebrity worship. We put people on a pedestal and they somehow usurp the experts that make planes. Like, I don't want to hear what Oprah has to say about planes. I'm glad she's a billionaire and all that kind of stuff, but she doesn't know anything about planes. You know what I'm saying? So for me, listening to that is maddening. I'm in the Hollywood listening to actors. I'm like, this dude's in the Huggies commercial. Why? What, man? You know what I'm saying? It's wild. So for me, that's why I said, I think for my work, figuring out my voice, I've always known that I cared about communities. I've always known that I've cared about my community, specifically Black people, the diaspora. And I'm like, well, how can I inject that in my work? So if I can make this climate change thing a comedy, people might listen. Because, you know, people saying this stuff, obviously they're not listening to the experts. They boring. They're not sexy. They don't got on a pink outfit. They don't got Bantu knots and all that kind of stuff. They in the lab trying to do their thing. You understand what I'm saying? And so for me, I look at I put it like this. I had a lot more faith in us before the pandemic. Because after, I realized how selfish people are. Yeah. Because again, if everybody took Kyrie Irving's position and said, you know what, I don't care, what would have happened then? You know what I'm saying? So there's a privilege in being an elite athlete. People have loved you your whole life. He's, you know what I mean? He's a handsome brother. He got millions of dollars. And that's where, to me, and again, I want to put this in my work, this idea that, you know, some of the white privilege started rubbing off on us. The oppressor can become the oppressed very easily under the guise of equality and all this other kind of stuff. Where I'm like, wait a minute, brother. You know what I'm saying? And so, like I said, I just think it's wild. And I think that's where the maturity comes from. I don't mind being controversial because to me, there's no controversy. You know what I'm saying? It's about the community.
Right. This is not controversial or anything at all. I think it's just like, I think what we're all saying, or in some ways, is just that there has to be a level of checks and balances. You can, for us, I think what we're saying, you can say yes or no, but if you say no, you can't be awarded all the things that the person who said yes did. And if you say yes, you can't then, you know, grapple on somebody else who's saying no to then come over to your side to, you know, do whatever you need to do. And I think what a lot of what you're saying too is like, I think just the changing nature of entertainment when it comes to celebrities, when it comes to singers, when it comes to influencers, et cetera, and the trends that are happening there. So let's talk a little bit more about having these folks play or act in movies and TV shows, having these folks have the training, you know, do what you're doing and have that same level of influence. Just this could have been the entire episode, but we're
no, we good. I mean, the thing is, I don't mind. I just think, you know, it's very hard being a Black American. You know, like we're kind of, I feel like sometimes we feel like the bastard children of the diaspora. You know, you turn on a movie, I'm like, I know this dude is not from America. He's definitely British. I'm trying to figure out why of all the talented people here, why they pick this dude. You know what I'm saying? That white people don't have to deal with that. You know, white people don't have to, like, when, I don't know, when they did Saving Private Ryan, they weren't like, let me cast Eminem to lead this, you know, this World War epic. Yet with us, it happens all the time. And I personally think that is a function of institutional racism. I think the racism, like when you watch Game of Thrones, they were like, let me get John Mayer so we can put butts in the seats. No, they cast some of these no-name people that are now superstars, right? Emily Clark, I believe her name is, and some of those folks, the guy that played Jon Snow, I think Emily Clark was coming right out of grad school, right? Yet with us, they go, oh, we're gonna do Dreamgirls. Can't use any of the people that did the Broadway show, so let's cast Beyonce. Excellent. And because they say, oh, we have to get Floyd Mayweather to be in it so we can sell tickets. And I'll be like, well, you don't use that same metric for white people. So, and that would, in our communities, that would build more wealth, right? People talk about support Black business, all that kind of stuff. That would build more wealth in our communities. It would enhance the talent that's already there. I think a lot of us just need an opportunity. And so a lot of times, to me, it's just about telling a great story. I think if you tell a great story, like some of the really great indie films that have come out, whether that's Fruitvale Station, Get Out, the list goes on. People go see. People want to see very interesting entertainment. They want to see things that speak to them, that represent, who they are. And I'm so happy for some of the diversity that's happening now. And I hope it just keeps, going forward.
Yeah.
How does that play when it comes to like, and Ab, you tell me too if you have an opinion on this, but I'm thinking too, like, it's such a, I understand the stance, but at the same time, from let's say an actor's perspective or a creator's perspective, when you want to have that multi-hyphenate title, how can you do that if on the flip side, there's also this like notion that I'm hearing when it comes to just like, hey, stay in your lane, right? If you're this is what you should be doing. There's other folks who prepared and trained and did all this to become this person, but at the same time, as a creative, you want to be a producer, director, actor, this and that. It's like, well, hold on. How about you stay, you an actor? Well, how do you get to, be behind the scenes or get to do this or then get to model in this or that show, for this or that magazine? Whereas if that's something that we're saying that we may not want to see from certain celebrities and influencers and things of that nature.
Here's my thing. At the end of the day, if you want to get money, that's fine. If you're an influencer and you're some dude that got a YouTube following and now you're in a new TV show, I don't begrudge that whatsoever. What I do begrudge is saying that person is good. Because a lot of times those people aren't very good. They're just a name. And so that's when I get prickly about it. It's like, hey, if you want to say you just get money, no problem. I ain't got no problem with that. But then when folks the celebrity worship starts kicking in, it's like, oh, this is the best show I've ever seen. Nah, you just like, oh boy, or you think he's handsome or this, that, and the third. You understand what I'm saying? So that's how I separate it. Because, I think that's been a part of Hollywood since the beginning, but it doesn't have to be. I mean, look what happened when we started embracing, it's funny, I always say it's funny the marginalized voices we choose to embrace, right? Because if it wasn't for opening things up, we wouldn't have creators like Issa Rae. We wouldn't see all the natural haired women and women of different sizes and all sort of kind of stuff on commercials and in TV shows and all sort of kind of stuff, right? If we didn't expand what was beautiful, Viola Davis might only be playing certain kinds of characters, right? Sometimes we don't do that same expansion for men. Sometimes we say, oh, we only want to have this rapper do this or this is that and the third. So I think we have to just keep evolving and keep questioning, keep taking things farther. And I just watched that great movie Don't Look Up on Netflix, and I'm like, man, I want to see us do some stuff like this. Can we get Denzel and Idris and me and Will Smith and all them and do a movie about this? You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to see, that. I want to see that for us. I don't have to have, I don't know, rapper X, what they're usually little scribble scratch or something, little trapping, something like that. I'm sorry, I don't want to see little trapping in my HBO series. I'm sorry. I'll be careful. And I think I had that decision with Wall. I had some people that were larger name people that are very interested in doing it. And then you're faced with that same decision as a director, as a producer. You say, well, shoot, this woman gave the best audition, but I'm gonna put butts in the seats. And I decided to hold myself accountable, and I gave this woman a shot. And Fatima was excellent. She's hilarious, and I can't wait to see where her career moves forward after that or after this.
We mentioned a little bit about just like hearing our voices, right? And then you talked about being kind of pigeonholed in a space as like Black people, like we're not being able to expand creatively at times because there's expectations on what we look like, how we think, what we feel, what our lives are like. And it's hard to really change that narrative. But then you did mention like Jordan Peele and Issa Rae are able to kind of play in that space, right? And kind of change it up. Right. So even though we do have networks that are essentially towards Black people like BET, TV One, and those types of networks, what do you think can really be done as Black people to kind of like change that space a little bit more, right? Like you're saying, if we're not able to break new talent in a space of Hollywood, and then we go and we create, now we have Tyler Perry, Issa Rae, Jordan Peele. I feel like those are like our big top name producers, but it's like, how are we able to kind of even go further than that and tell even more stories? Because, you know, like you said, we are dynamic. Like we should have like a Bridgerton, but like Black people, right? Like we should, like it's by Shonda Rhimes, but it's like, we want it like where it's literally we're all represented, not just like one character, two characters.
Yeah, I mean, I think that artists in the game gotta hold themselves accountable. You know, what kind of stories are you telling? You know what I'm saying? Like, who are you collaborating with? And again, that's a part of me. I can only speak really for myself and about the stories I want to tell. You only have a finite amount of time on this planet. And like I said, it's easy to do certain movies, comedy. I don't want to slander nobody movies. So, you know, I'll do that behind the scenes. But there's a lot of movies that we know come out that are absolute fluff. We know this. You understand what I'm saying? You know, it's not really that good, like comedian A, you know, or popular comedian B. And it's a movie they probably put together in you know, a few months, and let's shoot it real quick. So, because we know that whatever we put out, people will come see. And, you know, sometimes as when I was in Rites of Passage, they would say all skin folk ain't kinfolk. So I think we as people of color, as Black people, whatever you want to say, you got to be discerning in the people that you support and supporting, you know, smaller artists on their way, you know, coming up. You understand what I'm saying? Whether that's them doing their shorts or, you know, them doing their sketches and things like that. Because for us, I think it's just important to continue to expand the stories that we're telling. And I hope that there's more collaboration between us as a community. I want to see Black Americans and Black British people and people from all the different quadrants of Africa and the Caribbean. I want to see us in South America. I want us to work together. You know what I'm saying? And you're starting to see that, you know, a little bit. Like, I know they did a great job with that. I think they did a great job with that in Black Panther, where it wasn't just the Black British people show. There were people from all over represented in that film. And I want to see that, you know, that's something I would be interested in doing when I'm starting to direct my features and things like that, where everyone, you know, collaborated. And then, like I said, hopefully we can just expand the depth and breadth of the stories that we're telling.
But it's interesting because I do feel like there's, like, again, I always say this too, like doing our show so much that like there's so many like Black artists, Black creatives, Black people doing great things, creating great content. So it's kind of like, why do you feel like as Black people, and like this maybe is the question for the room, okay, maybe not just Johnny, like this is the question to discuss, like, why do you think that like us as our Black selves and our Black creativity doesn't get the same shine, doesn't get the same energy that like other series or other projects get? Like, why are we not more nominated for Emmys, Oscars? Like, what do you think the like disconnection is?
Well, I think part of it, and Johnny definitely follow up with this too, but I think part of it is kind of just like, kind of going back to kind of a root of what we've been talking about this whole time, is that level of humility and that level of like discerning for yourself what you think is shine, right? If you as a Black person, you as a Black artist or Black creative, Black viewer, etc., is going to consistently look at the Emmys, look at Netflix, look at, and you know, I'm shouting them out, but not saying that they're doing anything wrong, but just shouting out kind of what we think as a community is kind of the tentpole of entertainment. If you're going to consistently look at the Oscars, look at the Emmys, look at Netflix, look at HBO Max, look at whatever the upper echelon to your standard is in entertainment, you're going to consistently put yourself in a position where you are disappointed because you have decided to make a company or entity that was not built with you directly in mind as your epitome for what entertainment should be, as your epitome of quote unquote making it is. And on top of that, if you look at the financial dollars behind some of this, you know, we mentioned BT, we mentioned TV One, but they're not their own freestanding networks. They have people that they have to kind of look up to, or their financial dollars have to make sense for. And it's not owned, again, with Black people at the forefront or in mind in its creation. Not to say that the Oscars doesn't, not to say that the BET or whatever doesn't right now, but we're consistently putting these other places on a pedestal that was not built with us at the table or with us in mind. And that then you're mad when exactly what they set out to do, they're doing it, they're achieving their dreams, and you're mad because you were never a consideration at the beginning. And so, like, you know, now we're trying to get back some of these things, but I think that's kind of why we're going to consistently think that they're lacking or we're lacking, when there's a bunch of creators or Black folks that are out here doing the damn thing, Johnny Gill being one of them, Black Creators Club being another. But, you know, again, you were not considered. It's kind of like when you're dating and someone is like, why doesn't he like me? Why didn't she like me? When, you know, the whole time they were looking at this person, or the whole time they were focusing on this person, you're just trying to make yourself be seen. And so then you're putting your value in the place of somebody else instead of saying like, yo, I'm the shit and I've been the shit. And if I create my own wealth and create my own space, like, they will come. And so that's kind of where the focus needs to be on, versus like, how can we get approval? I hate that. It's like, you don't need approval from anyone. And I think the same thing when it comes to the Oscars. If you look in terms of how long it takes for someone who's Black, an actor, to even be considered in the voting room, you know what I mean? There's like, there's not enough numbers there. And when you don't see enough numbers there to vote for you, why do you think you gonna get a chance the same way that somebody else will get a chance? That's how I feel about the whole thing. But Johnny, feel free to talk more about it, because I'm kind of just like, I think when you're struggling for acceptance in a place that you never were considered for, you're always going to feel less than, because you were never like, you know, not to say you're not worthy, but it's like you're putting your value in something other than yourself, and you're never going to win that way in life, let alone entertainment, you know?
I mean, I think it's a compliment, to be real. You know, I think you can only control what you can control as an artist. I think in life, you know, you can only control what you can control. So for me, with Wald, you can do everything you want to try to get eyes on it, and you can't control that. And it might be a situation. I remember one of my previous sketches, The Purge, The Morning After. Shout out Dave Joy Randolph and Daniel Rubiano and everybody that helped me make that joint. It's a sketch on, you know, what would happen, you know, if the purge was real and the next morning you had to go to work with these people that tried to kill you the night before. And it's hilarious. We put it out, and then for some reason it got picked up by the Hollywood Reporter and it went viral. We did like 5 million views. Man, there's like, and then it kind of went viral again, like when they released the next Purge. So it's one of those things to where I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, Wald gets its mainstream shine like 2 years from now, but I can't control that. You know what I'm saying? I knew my intention for wanting to do the project was to be of service to the community and to make them laugh and to, you know, build my artistic chops, right? So I didn't want to do the festival circuit where I have to wait to see if I get in a Tribeca. I got to wait till next year to submit, because, you know, that's a whole marathon situation. So again, that intentionality. So I put it out, and then everything else is out of my control, time to work on everything else. And for me, in regards to the Oscars and stuff like that, I mean, I love and hate the Oscars at the same time, because the Oscars is I always call it one of the last remaining relics of actually celebrating art. Because if it wasn't for the Oscars, Fruitvale Station might not have had a place to be recognized. If it wasn't movies like Tootsie, City of God, I can think of these international films that these small indie films, there's no place for that. And I think that, you know, a lot of times people are talking about on the back end who's getting awarded. And for me, it's about the front end of the pipeline during pre-production. Again, what stories are you want to tell and how good are they going to be? You understand what I'm saying? On one hand, I don't want the Oscars where it feels like really like tight, but then I don't want the BET Awards where it feels like just a popularity contest. You understand what I'm saying? I don't want this, like, why can't we celebrate Ebony, who did this great album, and she's from Minnesota, and I don't know, she's only got 3,000 followers on Instagram, but she had the best album of this year. So let's give her shine at the BET Awards. I wish we did that. So I think it seems like we're locked into these extremes when there's this happy place on the spectrum where we can say, yo, like, we want to celebrate the artistic situation inside and third, because, you know, sometimes some of the stuff we do just ain't that good. You know what I mean? It's really not. You know, it's not. It ain't Meryl Streep, Viola Davis stuff. I remember when Viola Davis had the snot bubble in Doubt. You understand? And everybody said, "Woo!" And then for me, I'm like the next one. I'm like, did you know Doubt was a play? I remember when August Wilson, when Fences first came out, everyone was, oh, Fences, oh, I can't wait to see it. I'll be at the bar and people, I'm gonna go see Denzel. Oh my God. And then I'll lean over to them. I said, did you know that this is a play from August Wilson, one of the greatest American playwrights, one of the greatest American literary minds ever? No, they didn't know. You understand what I'm saying? So, that's why I say it's a complex issue. Like, we got to tell stories on us. It's about what are we going to see? Are you going to the taper to watch Blues for Alabama Sky? It's going to be there. You can go check it out and support those, Black artists. Maybe bring one of them on, those actors on, and talk about the theater, the theater scene, right? Are we bringing on Black scientists to talk about how to make airplanes, how to make all this other kind of stuff? You understand what I'm saying? I feel like we can all, again, community, humility, work together with each other to where now there's a better understanding to where we can sift through information, because then somebody will say, yo, I watched Black Creators Club and they told me creativity just doesn't exist with rapping and acting and stuff. There's a massive amount of creativity in engineering. There's a massive amount of creativity in science. And man, it was crazy. They brought on Neil deGrasse Tyson. You know what I'm saying? Now all of a sudden we're working together. So there's somebody that you can go, man, I thought the moon was closer than what it was. I'll never forget when I watched that interview and he did that thing about, well, the earth is right here. Where do you think the moon is at? Everybody thinks it's like right here because that's what they see on the books. He said, no, in this model, the moon will be in the next room. And I'm like, okay. I don't know what I'm talking about. I need to, and listen, you know what I'm saying? But also it was funny. And we can kind of all laugh at our, that's one thing I think about Hollywood too much. We too uptight, man. You can't make no jokes about nobody. You can't say, but nobody's movie was bad when we know sometimes the movie's not that good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think that this is exactly why we have the Black Creators Club. I think we fill in the gap perfectly because we are here to talk. We're not Hollywood and we're not, you know what I'm saying? But we are here to definitely give this space to talk and chat. And I think as a Black community, we don't do a good enough job supporting each other, right, and networking across and up and down and around and plugging other people. I don't think we do enough because we're so concerned about lack and being oh my gosh, well, we never had this and now I finally am in the room and I don't want to give it up, and so I don't want to fuck up my chance and have them kick me out the room. So you just kind of conform and you don't necessarily take a stand and to make changes. So that is 100% why we're here. I feel like this is a great transition for Akila to tell us what else they should continue to support.
I mean, you said it. Support the Black Creators Club, right? This is the show. This is what we do. And Johnny, you gave us a few good episodes that we're definitely gonna. I want a scientist next.
The crazy thing is, a lot of people didn't know. One of the people that helped create the vaccine was a Black woman.
Yeah.
Dr. Cynthia Corbett. Most people didn't know this. And I'm like, imagine if that had been in, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, where's this woman's interviews? And I'm sure she got some stuff to say,
People did talk about it, and then folks are saying is this, why they got her to talk about this? Of course, they got the Black woman, so it kind of goes to what Ebony was saying just a minute ago. But in any case, we're here at the Black Creators Club to talk about these issues, to talk about these discussions. And I would counteract what you're saying. We are Hollywood, right? In our own way, we are in Hollywood, and we're just doing it or approaching it from another angle and showcasing that we can still talk, be in the room, and rise at the same time. And so that's everything is at the Black Creators Club. That's on Spotify, that's on YouTube, that's on Apple Podcasts. If you have guest ideas, definitely let us know. Clearly, we'll follow up with that. Everything is the Black Creators Club at gmail.com to reach us by email. So yes, we're not done with you yet, Johnny. We're now time for a game. Ebony, explain what the game is all about.
Yes. Okay. So the game, we're calling it Whose Line Is It Anyway? We are going to give you some very popular Black culture movie quotes, and you're going to have to tell us what movie they are from. Okay.
Oh man.
I feel like You said you don't feel like what?
Oh man, I'm like, I don't want to embarrass myself. You know
That's
what
a tough one. Well,
they're easy. They're easy. I literally did the most popular ones. So you should literally.
This is talking. Let me just, just to give you a little opportunity. If it doesn't work out, it's all good because Ebony is the one. She would name a random quote to me and be like, "Where is this from?" And I'm like, "Girl, I know I watch movies. I know I watch TV, but what the hell is she talking about? what is this quote from?" So just in case you don't get it, we'll give you another chance, or we'll just blame it on that.
Yes, I am the movie quote fiend between the two of us. I'm quoting Legally Blonde. I'm quoting everything.
Whoa, Legally Blonde. Oh, no wonder she wore the pink today. Okay.
That's good.
But don't worry, we're not giving you Legally Blonde. I told you pop culture black movies. So think black, black all the way. Okay.
Black.
Blackity black. Okay, so the first one is okay, this one's kind of hard. But the first I was like, you know what? Let's go to okay. I'm gonna do
I gave you the disclaimer. Go for it. He might ready.
You ready? Okay. All right. Let me tell you something. This here right now at this very moment is all that matters to me. I love you and it's urgent like a motherfucker.
Shit, there's like nothing.
We gotta give multiple choices, son, child. Yeah. who was the actor? Who said? Yeah, let's do that. Probably that was Lorenz Tate. Was that Lorenz Tate or was that?
Is that Love Jones?
Yes.
I would have never got that. Without her saying Lorenz Tate, I would have never got that. That could have been like 15 movies. That could have been The Best Man. That could have been a lot of movies.
We gonna have to let's say it in their voices. We gonna put our acting.
Yeah, you gotta get your act on. You know what I mean?
I'm so ready for the one after this one to hear Ebony act this one out.
No, I don't want. I'm not skipping that one.
You have to do it. Okay,
let's go.
This is the next one. Come on, sit down and eat some cake, Anime.
Oh, that's not The Color Purple. The one with where he's slapping her up. Argentina movie. I'm not sure what that.
Yeah, that's great description. Yeah. Unfortunately, what love got to do with it?
Yes. Yeah, what love got to do with it? There you go. Didn't have a lot to do with it.
Yeah. Right, not at all. Oh God. Okay. Let me get my acting together.
Like it.
This one's actually, I think, even like a better quote, but like, all's my life I has to fight.
Color Purple.
Yes.
Color Purple.
There was a specific quote. You gotta say this other
you gotta get into it. You gotta.
Keely just wanted to say this quote so bad, and I
want her to act. This is her time. This is her time.
This is the time to shine.
It's the time to
shine.
Go. Okay. Let's see.
So there's So that one.
Yeah. Well, how about we?
There's three different ones just in case you didn't get one. So go ahead and do the first one, and then.
That's how I was like, oh. All right. I'll play you. For what? For your heart.
Heart. Love and Basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that one.
Yeah.
Play basketball for love. This is good.
Yeah.
You gotta let her win, dog. You gotta let her win, man.
He didn't get the memo.
He didn't. But he figured it out. Okay. What a beautiful chocolate man.
I feel like I should know what this is.
That's good. Okay, while you're thinking, we'll do a countdown in their version.
Oh man, I feel like
making my way downtown, walking fast.
Facing fast, and I'm homebound.
It's gotta be the that's not The Best Man, is it? We're talking about Morris Chestnut.
No, we're talking about the one with the Marlon,
the Wayans brothers.
The Wayans brothers, as well as homeboy. I'm thinking of the chess pets.
Terry Crews. Terry Crews.
Yeah, those are who's in it.
Johnny, come on.
This is one of the, just a fun fact for everyone else. This is one of the 3 movies Ebony consistently quotes. So this is her thing. If you know,
it's not. It's with the Wayans brothers and Terry Crews.
And who else?
It is a comedy. It's a comedy. It's literally like a
not
comedy.
White Girl. Not
Yes.
White Girl.
White chicks.
White chicks.
There we go. Close.
Wow. Yeah.
It's all good. Join the club.
My favorite movie, clearly.
Yeah. All right. This next one. Bye, Felicia.
Ain't that Martin?
It could be, but it's not. Bye. What else did they say in that?
Oh, that's Friday.
Yes.
I was waiting for a Friday one. I thought you were gonna do Smokey or something, but okay.
All right, Johnny, you ain't gotta lie, Craig. You ain't.
I have one for you guys off the top of my head. Black movie.
Okay, go.
Okay.
All right. You guys ready?
We're ready.
If I could find the spot where truth echoes, I would stand there and whisper memories of my children's future. I would let their future dwell in my past so that I might live a brighter now.
Wait. He giving us a play, child. What is that?
That was a whole monologue.
Is that Slam? That's not Slam.
Give us a hint. Give us a hint.
Yo! Yo!
Did I get it? I thought it was Slam, right?
Yes! You better do it. Saul Williams in the building. Yes!
The clack.
Oh, yes! We out here!
The one quote she gets. This one.
We out here!
We really in it. Okay?
We out here!
We really in it.
You better.
Okay.
Yo! Yes! Slam! Sundance 1998.
Sundance, exactly.
Black.
Real film.
I am before that. You better do it. Oh yeah, that was good. Yes. Had to ref for the black. Had to ref for the Indies real quick. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, and I love that. I'm happy you got that, sis. You represent for the both of us. Yes, girl. Go ahead.
There we go.
Boom. Okay. I hate you, Jody.
Oh, that's the one. Dang, with Tyrese and Tyrese and Snoop Dogg and you ain't no baby boy. Yeah. I remember like this. That was good. Ving Rhames, shout out Ving Rhames, one of the best in the game. Should work more. He should be doing what's that movie, that BT film he did, that great film. He plays I don't want to get the pronouns incorrect, so forgive me if I do. He played a transgender woman it's a beautiful film. It's real. Holiday Heart.
Oh, that's somewhat recent too, right? I didn't know it was a BT
it's
film.
a beautiful film. Holiday Heart. Heart. About Ving Rhames.
Yeah. Dope.
Such a dope actor.
Yes, love that. Okay, we got a final one for you. All right. What's the fucking procedure when you got a gun to your head?
Set it off.
Yeah.
Easy money. That's easy money.
Good way to end it. Love that. We've been going on time now.
Set It Off is a great film, man. Shout out to all those women. Set It Off is a great movie. Queen Latifah crushed that. You know, that's a great film. I would love to see a remake of Set It Off, but I would be scared.
I think they was talking about.
I feel like they would jack it up.
I would be
feel like they would jack it up. I feel like it would be jacked up. They would get Cardi B to be in it for no reason. You know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying?
You say
like,
Cardi B? Did he say Cardi B?
Not Carrie Bradshaw. I feel you though.
Yeah. And then the sad part, she was like Cardi B, and then 5 years from now, Cardi B stars and Set It Off too. Set It Off too. The strip club.
I'm dying. Well, this was so fun. And like we had a wealth of information in this episode. I almost felt like we need a part 2. Like it was like it went by so fast. It was like I was like, wait, I want to talk more about this and that, but I wanted to get through it too. So it was just a lot going on. But Johnny, please give us more information where they can find you, what you have coming up next, what the projects are. Let the people know.
You guys can find me, at Johnny Ray Gill on everything, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, if you're still using that. First Flock Pictures is my company, my production company, at First Flock Pictures on Instagram, on YouTube, Vimeo. You can see some of the other sketches and work that I've done. What I've got coming up, I'm working on my first book. It's a collection of poetry that I'm working on right now. And I'm also getting ready to create a visual album called Screenplays. So, each, I think it's going to be an LP that we're talking about right now. It'll be 4 songs, 4 or 5 records, but then each of those will have a corresponding short film that corresponds with it. And then those films will, long vision, we want to turn them into features. So the one right now I'm working on is The College Experience. It's a musical. It's like Snowfall meets La La Land. So I'm looking forward to that.
We're looking forward to that as well. And we love a good visual album. Akilah, where can we find you on social?
Yes, this was so fun. You can find me chatting media and life motivation, all with a dash of style, on my Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Akilah Friends on all platforms. Ed, where can they find you?
Perfect. You guys can find me on Instagram, chatting everything Black-owned business, and of course, the Black Creators Club at Ebony Chapman 12. This has been fun, amazing, such a great time. Again, you guys remember to always abide by your ABCs.
Always be creating.
Bye.
Bye.